The hidden power of the world's richest families. Are a few secret dynasties really controlling the global economy? The world's wealthiest families hold more power and influence than most people realize. From controlling financial institutions to shaping government policies, these families have left an indelible mark on the global economy for generations. But how did they rise to such dominance, and what does their influence mean for the rest of us? Wealth is more than just money. It is power, legacy, and control over industries that shape our world. The richest families don't just accumulate wealth, they build empires that span centuries. Some names are well known, like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, while others prefer to remain in the shadows. But their influence extends beyond their bank accounts. From the oil barons of the 19th century to the tech moguls of today, these families have shaped economies, influenced wars, and even altered political landscapes. Their power is often unseen but undeniably present in everything from stock market trends to government regulations. Understanding their influence helps us see how the world really works. But how did these families become so powerful? How do they maintain their grip on wealth across multiple generations? And most importantly, does their dominance come at a cost to society? We're going to explore the hidden power of the world's richest families, uncovering their origins, tactics, and lasting influence on global affairs. How did the world's wealthiest families get their start? Most of them didn't simply inherit fortunes. They built them through strategic investments, monopolies, and control over vital industries. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, industrialization created a new class of ultra-wealthy individuals. The Rockefellers dominated oil. The Carnegies controlled steel. And the Rothschilds built a global banking empire. These families understood that wealth wasn't just about money, it was about owning the industries that powered society. Through ruthless business tactics and political connections, they ensured their dominance. Many of these families also expanded their influence internationally, forming banking systems that still operate today. The Rothschild banking empire, for example, played a crucial role in financing wars and national economies. Meanwhile, the House of Saud, which rules Saudi Arabia, built its immense fortune through oil, a resource that remains the backbone of the global economy. The power of these dynasties didn't fade over time, it adapted. Many of these families invested in emerging markets, ensuring that no matter how industries evolved, they remained at the center of economic power. Their wealth wasn't just a result of business acumen, it was a carefully orchestrated strategy to maintain control for generations. Do the world's wealthiest families influence global politics? The answer is a resounding yes. From financing political campaigns to lobbying for favorable regulations, financial dynasties ensure that government policies work in their favor. The Koch family, for instance, has spent billions influencing U.S. politics through think tanks and policy groups. Similarly, the Rothschilds have been linked to banking systems that fund national debts worldwide, giving them indirect control over economies. Beyond politics, these families influence global organizations like the World Bank, IMF, and even the Federal Reserve. By controlling the flow of money, they can dictate which countries thrive and which struggle. In many cases, economic aid and development loans come with hidden conditions that benefit the lenders more than the recipients. Another strategy is the placement of family members and allies in key positions of power. Many politicians, central bankers, and corporate executives have deep connections to wealthy families, ensuring that decisions align with their financial interests. This system creates an illusion of democracy while maintaining elite control. Who really controls the news we consume? Many of the world's richest families own major media companies, shaping public opinion to align with their interests. The Murdoch family controls Fox News and the Wall Street Journal, while the Bezos-owned Washington Post has enormous influence on political and economic narratives. In entertainment, companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Universal are linked to billionaire dynasties that determine which stories get told. Media ownership isn't just about profits, it's about controlling narratives. By dictating what information is shared and what is suppressed, these families can influence elections, international conflicts, and economic policies. Many independent journalists have exposed cases where news organizations ignored stories that threatened elite interests. In the digital age, this influence extends to social media platforms as well. tech giants like Mark Zuckerberg, Meta, the Dorsey-linked Twitter, now X, and Google's parent company Alphabet, determine what content gets promoted or censored. The ability to manipulate search results, algorithms, and social discourse gives billionaires an unprecedented level of control over public perception. How do these families maintain their wealth across multiple generations? They don't just rely on inheritance, they have sophisticated strategies that keep their fortunes growing. One of the most powerful tactics is trust funds and offshore accounts. By storing wealth in tax havens like the Cayman Islands or Switzerland, families can avoid massive taxation and keep their money out of government reach. Another method is philanthropy as a business strategy. Billionaire families often create charitable foundations that provide tax exemptions while also funding initiatives that align with their business goals. The Gates Foundation, for example, has invested billions in health initiatives while securing partnerships that benefit Microsoft and associated industries. Can immense wealth exist without corruption? History suggests that when vast fortunes accumulate, scandals and unethical practices often follow. Many of the world's richest families have been involved in legal battles, financial fraud, and political corruption. The Panama Papers leak exposed offshore accounts used by billionaires to evade taxes, implicating major financial dynasties. Similarly, the Enron scandal revealed how corporate greed led to economic disaster, impacting thousands of workers and investors. Beyond financial crimes, some wealthy families have been linked to controversial business practices, including exploitative labor, environmental destruction, and monopolistic control. The Walton family, owners of Walmart, have faced criticism for underpaying workers, despite being worth hundreds of billions. Meanwhile, industrial families like the Sacklers, who controlled Purdue Pharma, were at the center of the opioid crisis that devastated communities worldwide. There is also the issue of political bribery and economic manipulation. From insider trading on Wall Street to funding secret lobbying efforts, billionaires often find ways to protect their empires by bending the rules in their favor. While some get exposed, many operate in a gray area of the law, using powerful legal teams to avoid accountability. Despite the scandals, these families often rebrand themselves through philanthropy, presenting a positive image while continuing to consolidate wealth behind the scenes. The question remains, can extreme wealth ever be truly ethical, or is corruption an inevitable part of financial dynasties? Will the next generation of billionaires maintain the same level of power, or is change inevitable? The rise of tech billionaires like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg has shifted economic power away from traditional industries. But the old dynasties still have influence through private investments and venture capital funds. However, economic inequality and increasing public awareness are sparking resistance. Many countries are discussing wealth taxes and regulations on monopolies, aiming to prevent dynastic wealth from dominating economies forever. Yet history suggests that the wealthiest families always adapt. If regulation tightens in one sector, they move to another. If public opinion turns against them, they invest in reshaping narratives. The battle between power and people is as old as wealth itself. The world's wealthiest families are more than just rich. They are powerful forces that shape economies, politics, and even culture. Their influence is undeniable, yet it often operates in the shadows, beyond the reach of public scrutiny. From building financial empires to influencing government policies and media narratives, these dynasties continue to evolve, ensuring their control remains intact across generations. While some argue that they drive innovation and economic growth, others see them as symbols of unchecked power and inequality. The question we must ask is whether society should continue allowing a small elite to control so much, or if a more balanced system is possible. As history has shown, wealth and power are rarely given up voluntarily. The future will determine whether these dynasties continue to rule, or if a shift in economic structures finally challenges their dominance. The hidden power of the world's wealthiest families raises important questions about influence, control, and the future of our global economy. Do you think these dynasties are shaping the world for the better, or do they hold too much power? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video insightful, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our deep dives into the forces shaping our world. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.